Torre, and welcome to episode number 2 of the Pete Torre Show. I want to thank my sponsors, Jackson Health System, Best Practices Title, and Clutch Burger. My purpose is to inform, educate, and inspire you to grow your business and enhance your life. Today's guests include Bill Talbert, President and CEO of the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau, Dr. Phil Delatorre, industrial psychologist and leadership specialist, and Steve Bradley, entrepreneur and owner of Clutch Burger. And before I introduce my first guest, I want to put this on right now because it sets the tone. Okay, everyone, as you can tell by looking at your screen right now, we're talking from the sun and fun capital of the world, which is Miami. And I have the pleasure now to bring on a good friend of mine. We've known each other forever. We've partnered up on many cool things, especially this show. And so proud that Bill could be with me here on the launch week of the Pete Delatorre Show. What's going on, my brother?
You know what? I've been saving my sunglasses for this show, and lo and behold, we got a great community. But Pete, I'm so happy that we're getting back together. This is like getting the band back together. So, we here at the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau, the official destination sales and marketing company for Greater Miami and the beaches. I'm overlooking the Biscayne Bay, and you see a great downtown. And now I'll show for your viewers here. See this? You know what that is?
What is it, man? Is that a passport? No, that's your vaccine thing.
You got it, buddy.
Okay.
I mean, this is we're open for business now because you're in the business of business. That's Pete. That's your DNA. On October 5th, we reopened our offices in downtown Miami, and then on October 21st, we had the first face-to-face hybrid annual meeting for a convention bureau in the country, October 21st. So we're about face-to-face business, face-to-face meetings, face-to-face vacations. And Pete, it's appropriate to relaunch the show with face-to-face business. It's about business. And by the way, it's touching and feeling and communicating. And we live in paradise, and there's no question about it. I think we've seen that over the last year. March 16th, everybody remembers the day that we closed up, locked up, threw away the key. But the good news for the destination, it was February 2nd, 2020. What happened that day, Pete?
Well, something called the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl, our 11th Super Bowl, more Super Bowls than any other city. And I know, and you've actually done events with us. This was at the reimagined Miami Beach Convention Center. And the brand new ballroom there was the media center for Super Bowl 54. The rest of it was the NFL experience. A 6-acre park across the street, windows, a sense of place. And I can tell you, having done Super Bowls for the last 30 years, this was the finest Super Bowl in history.
There isn't a city that does events better than Miami, my brother.
We do big events very well.
We are the capital of many things, but doing the best events in the world.
Now we were challenged. We're all challenged during the COVID. But in first of all, January 2nd, we had our Orange Bowl game. We had that game. Was spaced out at Hard Rock Stadium. Thank you. And then on 9 days later, on January 11th. 2021, we had the college football championship, the Super Bowl of college. And only one community in the country could pull this off in the pandemic. It was called Miami, Greater Miami.
My brother.
And I can tell you what happened was, in working with the college football champion folks, we're going to get another game sooner rather than later. We handled the community, our host committee, Judge Chavies, the Orange Bowl folks, Palms, no other community could have done this, and they appreciate that. And so we're going to get another college football championship. But with that said, Pete, what is not widely known is on December 30th of this calendar year, we're going to have a college football semifinal game. So for college
I didn't
football,
know that. I didn't
yeah,
know that, man.
but this is breaking news for Pete Delatorre.
I
But
love it, man. That's really good.
so we have the Orange Bowl January 2nd, college championship January 11th, and a semifinal December 30th in the same calendar year. And I think, and you've reported this, Pete, some of the college football semifinal games, remember there's only 4 teams, are as good as the final. So we're
Oh no, there's
excited.
no doubt about it. Let's keep our fingers crossed that the U will be a semifinalist this year.
Well, that would be great.
They got to
That
win their first game against Alabama. If
that
they
would,
win that
and
game,
that's easy. That'll be easy.
that'll be a piece of cake, like always,
Yeah.
man. Hey, Bill. Obviously, we've touched on the whole COVID thing. Where is the industry right now? Tourism, hospitality, obviously, making a great comeback. I'm hearing that the hotels are filled. The rates are through the roof, but the challenge seems to be in getting the help and getting folks
Yes.
to work there.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what's going on
That's
there.
that's exactly correct. And I remember many of these hotels were closed for months and months and months,
Yeah.
and their employees were laid off or fired or whatever. So for the industry all around the country, it's getting staff, and so uh, you know what I say to this, Pete? We're open and we got customers. What a terrible problem to have.
Yeah, I mean, a year ago it was the reverse.
Yeah.
Uh,
So it's that will cure itself. We're working with the team to get the cruise lines back up and running. You
yeah.
know, they're just. I think it's clear that the CDC. We were at some press conferences last week.
Hmm.
They're attempting to do catch up with the cruise industry. So while they worked for the last year, hotels and restaurants and all of these other things, they are now trying to catch up. I mean, the cruise ships, Miami is the cruise capital of the world,
Hmm.
uh, and it's now. I think it's crystal clear that with the vaccine, cruising can happen sooner rather than later. So I think this is going to solve itself. We've seen litigation, the governor suing the CDC, the local. I know that County Mayor Daniela Levine Cava has led her team. Juan Carrillo
Yep. Yep.
the port director, is the best in the world. But Pepe Diaz is the chair. Rebecca Sosa, the chair of the ports committee, is really uh, putting putting the heat on the CDC to solve this. And once again, my view is they're trying to play catch up. Well, this is one of our top employers in our community. The global headquarters for the top cruise companies in the world are based in Miami, Florida. This
Man,
is
and if you travel on MacArthur Causeway, um, uh, especially going into Miami Beach, and you take a look to the right, and you see all of the major cruise companies that have built out or are going to build out their port terminals.
yeah.
That's another beautiful sight to see.
Well, they've got $2 billion of largely private development at Port Miami, cruise capital of the world. Royal Caribbean Terminal A, $250 million terminal open.
Mhm.
Next to it, Terminal B, NCL, Norwegian Cruise Lines, $200 million terminal open for business. So, and just recently, there's a groundbreaking for Virgin, funded, a groundbreaking for Carnival, but $2 billion. And by the way, this is Pete, as a business person, this is not happening anywhere in the world.
No,
Not anywhere.
you were very fortunate to be here. We take it for granted, but when you look around, what we've got here in Miami, the way that our resilience, the way that we bounce back, the innovation, all that is you could look around, and that's exactly the byproduct of all of that. Bill, got about a minute or so left.
No, I want to give you another plug here.
Okay, well,
Uh,
go for it.
no, over the last probably 6 or 8 weeks, every other week, a new airline has announced service to Miami.
Okay.
to MIA. We had Southwest, never had flown into Miami, launch service, and now expanded service. Frontier launched and expanding, and JetBlue launching service. There is no city in the country where new airlines have come in this pandemic. In the pandemic, and
Are we at
why?
about 110 airlines, give or take?
We were, and then we were the only airport. Thank you. You remember this, Pete? You still got it. Uh, we're only airport in the country with served by more than 100 airlines and approaching 110. So it's American Airlines, our hometown airlines, is approaching their previous levels. It's just now, it's still ours to lose. We still need to mask up.
Yep.
But you don't need to cover the sunglasses. But I've been on an airplane. And by the way, an airplane is one of the cleanest places on the face of the planet. The air recirculates, regenerates every 2 to 3 minutes, and they have HIPAA
guidelines.
No, their filters
Okay.
are the same filters as in a hospital.
Okay. Well, they
And-
have to. People are
yeah.
sitting about 2 inches away from each
Yeah,
other.
but
so-
the point is, it's
Yeah.
one of the it's. By the way, in your office, wherever you're at, how often do you think the air circulates or recirculates with fresh air? This is every 2 to 3 minutes, even in the air. So it's all good. We've got convention. We have a reimagined convention center on Miami Beach.
Well,
We
that's,
have
that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Where do things stand right now?
it's
with,
coming back. It's
conventions?
coming
Yeah.
back.
What
It's-
timing are we looking at here?
Well,
Late
we
2020?
actually had a convention March 22nd, Jewelers International Showcase, their 41st time here, March 22nd, 3 days of B2B, and so we were all concerned, including Reed from Europe, their management, who they recently bought Jewelers International Showcase. So there was deep concern about what's going to happen. We were there along with the mayor and their leadership on March 22nd, cut the ribbon. Day one, they had predicted 800 participants. When they closed up, they had 2,100 people show up on day one. And so they had record attendance for the 3 days that they'd ever had in history. And the only thing the Reed exhibition people talked to us about, we had lunch on Monday, was how can we bring more meetings and conventions and trade shows to Miami and Miami Beach. And that's how popular we are here.
No,
and we
that's
work
gonna-
very hard at it.
Oh well, that's obvious, man. The whole team, everybody is just amazing to work with.
Rolando, Sonia, Connie.
Everybody, and I'm telling you, man, this is going to end up being a good year. But 2022, I mean, get ready because it's going to be. I think you've always broken records. I mean, this is like one after another. We had a little bit of a pause with the lockdown, but now I think these numbers are going to go through the roof. I mean, it's
I'm
going to be incredible.
And by the way, just look out the window. Look out the window. This is paradise. And by the way, we see whether becoming a tech center in the country.
Oh, exactly.
We're all for diversification. That's good for business. And so the future here is almost as bright as it's ever been. There's pent-up demand for vacations, for meetings and convention, and now as a tech center. Wow, that's great.
And that, folks, again, that explains why Bill and I are wearing these shades, because not only is the sun and fun capital, but the future is so bright, man. We've got to have these shades on here. My brother, thank you so much for being with us during launch week of the Pete De La Torre Show. And Bill's got his vaccine. It's confirmed. He can travel anywhere in the world. He can get on these cruise ships, and he's game.
And I can talk to Pete.
You got it. Anytime.
Thank you, brother.
Get you back soon, man. Take care.
Thank you, brother.
All right, I can take these off now as I thank Bill Talbert for being with us today. And now for my second guest. Okay, it is my pleasure now to bring on someone that I've known all my life. Yes, this is my brother. I call him now Dr. Phil De La Torre. If I call him Phil, he looks at me kind of strange. So it's Dr. Phil De La Torre. What's going on, bro?
Bro, good morning, and thank God I'm not a medical doctor. There'd be a lot of people hurting out there.
Let's kind of leave that. We'll have another discussion about that there. Hey, this is exciting to bring you on the show. One of our first episodes. Uh, Tell us a little bit about your work, Phil, what you do, and how you help your clients.
Thanks, Pete. And by the way, what an honor to be on your show and see this come to life. It's exciting. Uh, so, Pete, when I get asked what I do for a living, it's always an interesting question. Can people look at me with a funny look? Because it's very hard to explain. But to try to simplify it, formally, I'm an industrial psychologist. But what I do for a living is I'm an organizational development consultant, and I specialize in the area of leadership development and executive coaching. So, what are we about? What we do is really help organizations, teams, and leaders to develop, grow, transform. Why? So that they can bring to the organization, the business, what they were intended to bring, and they can really reach their potential. And most importantly, what we do is try to make it sustainable. That's a big thing.
That's an important word you just say, sustainable, because there's a lot of ideas that come out that do not have the fuel to make this a long term success. You know, there's a lot of hit and misses, but it's that word sustainability is important because it allows you to keep it going the long term, but also build on it as you keep moving forward. Building, talking about building, is you just built and put together your first book, and congratulations. The book is called How Leaders Keep the Fire Lit. You just had a release of it back in February. This is exciting for you. I know you've been working on this project for a long time. The big question is, why did you do the book, and what is the purpose behind it?
Yeah, great, great. Thank you, Pete. I appreciate the introduction to that. It's been coming for a long time. What happened was I first thought to myself, if I'm going to write a book, I have to be really passionate about it in order to finish the book because it's so hard to get started, right? So I started to think, I've experienced so many examples around the world in my work of management consulting, leadership training, that I saw a pattern. And the pattern was that I would see new employees start the first 2, 3, 4 months in the organization. But then I found that after time, leaders were struggling with how to keep the employees engaged, motivated, and thus focused and performing to their level of expectation. So the book touches a lot about what I found in those experiences. And what I do with this book, Pete, I basically give some tools to managers and leaders on how to sustain the motivation of their employees. And it's not a raw thing. It's things that I give tools to leaders to really understand their role in shaping the culture that then people have the choice to respond to or not. It's not about hitting people over the head
Right.
or giving raw speeches.
Right. One of the things I found uh, very interesting in the book was the fact that uh, it isn't just about delegating responsibilities to your team. It's about setting the example as you're delegating the responsibilities to your team and setting the tone, setting the culture, setting the mindset. I mean, you look at a team like the Miami Heat with Pat Riley, okay? They don't win championships every year. They're not in the playoffs every year, but most of the time they're competing, and it all goes back to the leader, which is Pat Riley. He has
Absolutely.
set a culture on that team,
Right,
and then
right.
you can look at any other sports team that have been successful over the long term. Bill Belichick with New England Patriots, when Don Shula was the Dolphins. Again, they weren't winning every single year, but the teams were prepared, and there was a commonality. You know, everybody was on the same page,
Right.
and I thought that was one of the things that really, for me, when I was reading the book, really hit with me personally.
Yeah, I'll give you two examples of that. Excellent points. One is that I start out when I do a lot of my executive coaching and leadership training engagements. I ask the top leader that I get to work with, I say, tell me what you're doing to work on your own development. And when they don't have an answer to that, I say, well, how do we expect the rest of the folks down the organization to be committed to working on themselves if you don't even know or you don't have anything that you're working on to set that example?
Right.
Another example would be when I do executive coaching, which is really about half of my work, if not more than that. We have such a process that's so powerful different from traditional coaching, that we involve all the key stakeholders of the leader that we're coaching. Why? Because those are the people that are important to their professional life. If they're not good with those people, but what we do in our process is we engage those stakeholders to sort of be learning partners with the leaders as we go through the 9 or 12 month, executive coaching process. And it's very measurable, and it's all about goals and results. It's not about feeling good only. So I kid around whenever someone calls me to potentially coach one of their people. I say, I want to tell you up front, I don't do Starbucks therapy. I don't care if they were potty trained or not. It doesn't matter to me. What we care about is, what do you got to do to become a great leader, to be more effective? And let's identify those behaviors, and then let's get the people involved that are important to you and work on a game plan. That's kind of how we do that.
I think it reminds me of an old adage. A good doctor, let's say you go visit him and you're not feeling well, and you want the magic pill. You just want to walk out of there with a magic pill, even though you're overweight, eating the wrong foods, you don't exercise. You just want that magic pill. You want to feel good instantaneously. And what a good doctor does, Dr. Phil, for instance, right, is you share and you communicate with your clients. In this case, in the case of a health doctor, their patients, not really what they want to hear, but what they need to hear.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is what, again, the message I got from the book, and obviously your practice through the years, is that the value you bring to your clients is to be right up front, is have the right intent, to be honest with them, and share with them what they need to hear and what they need to do. It's up to them at that point to do it.
And here's something, Pete, that your listeners may want to know. I had a client in Portland, Oregon. I may even talk about this, I think, in one of the chapters of my book, that asked me one day. He was struggling with his 10 people on his team. He was the head of operations for this company. And he said, Phil, can I motivate my people? And I caught him off guard on purpose. And I said, you really can't. He said, what do you mean? He said, you waste your energy and time if you think that you can motivate your people one by one. What you can do as a symphony orchestra leader is create a culture that then shapes behaviors and mindsets of people that then they respond to. So you put your energy into influencing and shaping the culture of motivation, not in trying to play like whack-a-mole, the next person, So it's about getting leaders to understand their role and where to put their time and energy. And one of the things I talk about in the book a lot is that great leaders spend their time, most of the time, shaping the environment, influencing people, inspiring people to become their best, not in doing a lot of the work themselves. So it's all about understanding their role and what they can really do to shape the culture so that people respond to that, assuming you've selected and hired the right people, of course.
Hey, everyone. How Leaders Keep the Fire Lit. You can get a copy on Amazon. It's all over Amazon. You can also write to Phil at Dr. Phil at phildellatore.com if you want more information on the book, and also how he can help you and your organization thrive and grow. Bro, this has been great. Thank you so much for taking time. Really, really appreciate it. And we'll talk at some point, right?
Excellent. Hey, and good luck. Congratulations. You're going to have a huge success with this great show. Thank you.
Thank you, man. God bless you. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Big thanks to my brother, Dr. Phil Dellatore, for being with us today. And now for my last guest for the show. Okay, everyone. It is my pleasure now to bring to the program my buddy, Steve Bradley, Mr. Clutch Burger himself. What's going on, guy?
Hey, Pete. How you doing, my dude? Everything good?
Everything fantastic, man. And thank you for accepting my invitation to be on this new and exciting program. Hey, what you've done in this last year, we could talk about it for hours, but for the benefit of the viewers and listeners that maybe don't know who you are, which I find really strange, especially after everything that's happened, why don't you tell us a little bit about Clutch Burger?
All right. Well, first, Pete, thanks so much for having me on the show, man. Appreciate that. That's awesome. That's very clutch of you, Pete. I really, really, really appreciate that. For those that don't know Clutch Burger, we are a gourmet burger joint in the heart of Coral Gables on Geralda Avenue. That's the pedestrian only street. It's 1 block long. There's 23 restaurants. So it's known as Restaurant Row. But we started in July of 2018, right before those beautiful umbrellas went up in
That's
that
right,
sky.
man.
You remember that?
Yeah.
That was like everybody in the whole world had to go to Giralda to take a selfie with whoever, didn't matter, of them with
Whoever was
everyone.
available to take a selfie with, right?
I never seen so many Instagram models in my life. I mean, it was just like, oh, yeah, everyone thought they were Insta famous. It was actually pretty comical, but it did great for business. So we started off with a bang. Like literally, that was the most opportune time to open. It was right after the construction of that street, which took almost 2 years.
Yeah,
So
I remember that.
we didn't have to deal with that. We opened 2 weeks later. Boom, Umbrella Sky raining money on every restaurant on that street. Uh, and then fast forward a year after that, a year and a half actually, is when that beautiful disaster, COVID, kind of did the reverse effect on everybody on that street. But God bless, we're still open, still alive, and cheers to that, right?
And let me let everybody know that Steve is drinking water right now. So
That is water. It is Friday, so it's surprising.
Okay.
I mean,
hey, listen. Let's talk a little bit about what happened with COVID, because we've told this story endlessly, that this hit everybody like a brick on the side of their heads. Like nobody expected this to happen. It came out of nowhere. It's one of those things. How could it happen here? It happened all over the world. So tell us your story, your COVID story, and what you went through and what came out of it at the end of it, because that's really an exciting finish to everything that's happened so far.
Yeah, I could, like you said, we could talk for hours on the impact that COVID happened, or what happened with the restaurant industry and basically industries all across the board. If I could rewind just to like 6 months before COVID, my wife and I found out that we were expecting a baby, which put instant halt on Clutch Burger's plans for expansion. We were looking at our spot number 2 and number 3, and we kind of pumped the brakes, saying, "Let's expand the family first."
That's just going to say that. First things first, man. Priorities.
Let's expand the family first, and then let's have the baby. The due date was mid-April, and thank God we did, because had we opened the second and third location, I don't know if any of our locations would be open right now. So fast forward to March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, my favorite day of the year, 2020. Boom, they closed the entire restaurant industry down. Can't do anything except for online delivery, which takes 30%, which makes no sense of doing business that way, because that's not even your profit margin. But we take out, walk up delivery, our regulars, people like Pete coming by and supporting. So we had to reinvent ourselves like every other business did. We had to pivot, adjust, and I think the biggest thing that saved us was our optimistic mindset that we had, and my staff. I told everyone, "Hey, I don't know if I can pay you guys. I don't know what's going to happen. There's no, I can't read the future. So just trust me. Come to work. I'll make sure your lights stay on, your families are fed." And we started, what we did basically is we brought in a different quality of meat, a little bit less than our American Wagyu beef that's tripled in price when COVID hit. So one, we couldn't even
by
afford
the way, the burgers you put out, man, I have one that I always have, as you know, the 305. But from others that have gone there, everything is just out of this world, man. It's out of this world, and that's been, I think, your secret recipe. Secret sauce, no pun intended, from day one. I mean, the quality and the service and the attitude. I mean, that's the perfect storm.
Well, I'm a Chicago native, and in Chicago, in order to have a successful restaurant, you have to have service that matches your quality. If you don't have both, it's not going to work.
Exactly.
Down here in Miami, it's not so much the scenario. You can have one or the other and still skate by. But I bring that extra. It's almost like the Cheers of Coral Gables. You go there, you probably know someone that's sitting on the patio. Everyone kind of hangs out, and it's really cool. It's like a family atmosphere.
That's right.
But so what we did when COVID happened, we're like, all right, how do we? I changed my business plan completely from selling to you, Pete, individually, to I'm going to sell it to your company. All right.
Yep.
So your company maybe wasn't affected negatively by COVID, and you're a good guy, and you want to support the restaurant industry. Okay. So we started Clutch It Forward. And Clutch It Forward was a campaign where businesses, corporations could call in and say, hey, I've got $100. Give me as much food as you can get and send it to the fire department or Coral Gables Hospital or the post office or whoever. And it happened. One of my buddies in Chicago called, ordered 10 Clutch Burgers over the phone, paid for it, then told my server, there's an ER room 2 blocks east of you. Just run it over there and drop it off and let the nurses eat. I was like, and tell Steve this is Sergio from kindergarten. And I'm like, what? That was so cool. So the next thing you know, you have the Vice Mayor Vince Lago buying 150 burgers for Waste Management. You have my attorney Lillian Sir and her husband buying 375 burgers for the Coral Gables Hospital. So it kind of just like the ball, it just kept rolling, and next thing you know, we're doing okay.
I think what I personally have witnessed and just seeing it and hearing it and talking with you is this is big for any business at any level, is to give back to the community, social responsibility, help others that really need the help. And it's obviously it's great for you as a business, the PR that goes with that. But at the end of the day, it's really about helping others that are less fortunate and going through tough times. And I'm telling you, man, clutch forward and all that comes back to you, buddy. And I can see it happening now. And I can see that all of this is taking you to a whole different level, and it's exciting to see this firsthand. We got about a minute or so left, and I mean, obviously, this is a big question, kind of tough, man. But where do you go from here? I mean, I know you have a lot of plans, a lot of exciting things that you're cooking up. Again, no pun intended. Yeah. But what's going to happen in the next few months for you? What do you see?
That's a great question. We've seen this continual rise in business. So if this keeps going in the direction that it's going, and I mean, we're right now doing the same numbers we were doing back in 2019, which is incredible. Nobody thought that. Our biggest issue is staffing right now. So
yes,
if we can figure out the staffing, if people can say, hey, you know what, I want to go back to work, and they want to get off the couch and let's do this together, that's the only way I can move forward. But right now, every restaurant is dealing with the same problem. We're short-staffed. We have a skeleton crew. Everyone's working overtime. So if we can once we get past that's a bigger issue than, if I don't have staff, I can't open. Before it was I didn't have business because everyone was sheltered in place. So now it's like, all right. Now
it's the opposite effect. And it's restaurants, it's hotels.
Yep.
I mean, you've got managers in hotels that are having to clean rooms and serve in the restaurants. It's incredible to see. And like everything else, it's a short-term crisis. I think it'll turn around. And just get ready, man, because when that thing turns around, buddy, you're going to explode. You're going to go to the next level and serve Clutch Burgers somewhere out of this universe. So just think about that, brother. Plan. Hey, listen, how can the viewers and the listeners connect with you?
The best way to connect is through our Instagram at Clutch Burgers, or stop by 146 Geraldo Avenue and say what's up. I'm there every single day except for Monday. It's my day of rest. And come on by. We'll have a beer together.
Well, I'll be there again. So it's always a great time, and it's not just the meal, but it's just the interaction and the whole atmosphere. And you're there after 2 hours. Time flies. You forget that you're there, but you're having such a great time. And that is, I think, the biggest intangible that you have is that people love the experience.
Yeah. And nowadays that's what you want. I don't want to go to a place and get a ticket and sit at a table with a number and someone drops off my food and I leave and I just spent $20. I'm like, I sell memories, Pete. That's what I do.
I love it, brother. Hey, thank you so much for being and also being part of the Pete De La Torre show, man. Thank you so much.
Of course, my bro. I appreciate it. We'll see you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks to Steve Bradley, Mr. Clutch Burger. Along with Steve, I want to thank all my guests today and for taking the time to be with us. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and my YouTube channel, Pete De La Torre. As we close it off, let me leave you with this. Have a vision for tomorrow, yet keep an eye on today. Take care and God bless.